everyone, and welcome to the most awkward video I'm ever gonna have to do, hopefully. I'm here today to tell you a little story about my first ever panic attack. It happened 3 days ago as I'm filming this, and honestly I thought that I was better, but now that I've sat down to talk about it, I'm shaking. I think that I've detached myself from it until now. I don't really talk about these things with other people, so I haven't had to bring it up. I think 4 people in my life know that this has happened. But I think that I need to let it out. I think it's not something I want to share with people I know. I think it's really personal, and I don't like seeming more vulnerable than I already am to other people. So it's something that I've kept to myself for now. So it happened on Friday the 13th, which I didn't even think about the date when it happened, but now that I mention it, it just seems so perfect. Friday the 13th, severe panic attack. So I was about to shower. It was my day off. My sister, my mum and I were due to go to Cardiff to go and see Michael McIntyre. And I was getting undressed for the shower, not to get too graphic. And I had an itch just here under my bra. So I took my bra off and I scratched it, and that's when I felt a little lump. It was about that big. It was pea-sized. It moved around under my skin, and when I wasn't touching it, it's kind of sat on my ribs. And I had a little play with it, and then I stopped myself. I thought, just keep an eye on it. It's probably nothing. And if it doesn't go away or if it grows, we'll go to the doctor. No big deal. Like, I was completely cool about it and level-headed. And yeah, it was still in my mind, obviously, when I got into the shower. But I didn't think I was obsessing. Obsessing was panicking about it, not being able to leave it alone, worrying about the C word. But I was just like pretty cool about it. I was like, it doesn't hurt. It isn't anchored to anything. It's fine. So I shampooed, and just as I let the water kind of rinse off my shampoo, I felt my hand go into it again. And as I played with it, I felt my chest start to tighten. And I suffer with mild asthma, so I thought, oh God, my inhaler is in the living room in my bag. I'm gonna have to just ride this out until my lungs open back up, because that's what usually happens. If I don't have access to my inhaler, I will sit and take deep breaths and breathing will return to normal. But this didn't happen. My heart felt like a hand was gripping it tightly. But again, didn't panic, had felt this before, so I let it go. And then the deafness happened. So when I get a tattoo and I haven't had much sugar, I get quite dizzy, my ears start ringing, and I get what I call bubbles in them, so it feels like I've got kind of a shield between my ears and sound waves, so I can hear, but it's fuzzy. And that started happening, and the first thing I thought was I need sugar, because when that happens when I get a tattoo, I have to ask the tattoo artist to stop, eat some sugar, and I'm normal. So I thought, right, as soon as I get out of the shower, I'm gonna need a puff on my inhaler and I'm gonna need some juice. And then my vision started blurring, and I thought, I know what's happening. That, like, the third symptom, that was when I knew that what I was going through was not lack of sugar, was not asthma. My body believed I was dying. I'd read about this in countless fictional books, and I thought, they're overreacting. Like, obviously, it's not going to be that bad. It's that bad, and then some. Terror swept through me as I leaned my head against the shower and prayed for it to stop. My heart was in pain, it was tight. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My ears were ringing, and I thought I was going to faint. I've never fainted before in my life, but I knew it was about to happen. So I kind of sat on the shower floor and tried to breathe. And I sat there until I got this fleeting temptation to lie down. And then I thought, you can't lie down. If you pass out, you will drown. And it was strange because all this was going on and rational thought kind of kept with me. I could think so coherently, but my body was shutting down. It was the strangest thing. So I managed to turn off the shower and kind of throw myself out of it. I landed on my butt, which I'm still pretty convinced I've broken. It's not been the same since. And my back slammed against the bath and I cried out. And thank God my mum was in the kitchen, because I don't know how long I'd have been there. She knocked on the door and she said, "Sam, are you alright?" And I shouted no. And she said, "Can I come in?" And I was like, "No, like, I'm naked. I'm laid on the floor naked." I was not letting my mum in, which again was so strange and surreal. Like, I'm having a panic attack. I think I'm dying, but I still won't let my mum see me naked. But she stayed by the door, and I eventually asked her to get me some juice. So off she went, and I managed to grab my towel off the side of the bath and wrap myself in it. And she comes in, and she hands me the juice, and I'm grasping around for it, like, and my fingers find the glass. And just as I'm lifting it to my lips, I thought, how did I not see that glass? It was being put into my hand. And I looked up at my mum, and that's when I realised I was blind. I'm not exaggerating. My vision was black. There were like pinpricks of light. It was like a night sky. And I blinked to check that my eyes were open, but I knew they were. And I went, "Mum, I'm blind." She was like, you're okay, just drink your juice." And I drank about half of it by now, and I went, "Mum, I am blind, I cannot see." And she was holding my hand, and she was stroking my hair. And slowly my vision returned to me. I think it was about 30 to 40 seconds. I was completely blind. And that is the most terrifying thing to go through. I can't even explain, like, I couldn't cry. I was just so shocked that it had happened to the only person in the house with perfect eyesight. I sat there, finishing my juice, and the first thing I saw when my vision returned to me was my mum and the dog sitting on the floor with me. And my ears were still ringing, and that's when the temporary migraine started, I think. Like, I had a stabbing pain in my head, and my eyes felt like they were on fire. But this is so hard to talk about. I don't do this. So as I started to calm down, my mum said to me, "Did you hurt yourself? Did you fall out of the shower?" And I said, "No." And she went, "You didn't break anything?" And I said, "No. I think I just had a panic attack." And I kind of shakily explained to her what had just happened to me. And all the while my ears were ringing, my vision was blurring in and out of focus. And yeah, that's what happened. And then I said to her, I need to get back in the shower. And she was like, "What? Well, you've washed your hair, why don't you just sponge bath?" And I went, "Well, I could run a bath, but I need to condition. Like, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose myself, but a lot of people have accused me of OCD. If I'm in any danger, I can still obsess about something small. I was hit by a car when I was 11, and as soon as I sat up in the road, I was looking around for my hairband that had fallen out of my braid. And it was the same this time. Like, I just feared for my life. I just had the most terrifying experience I've ever gone through. And all I could think about was the fact that I hadn't conditioned my hair, that I wasn't clean, that I needed to do this. I needed to be normal. So I said, "I'll run myself a bath." And she said, "No, please just sponge bath." I was like, "I think I'm fine. So eventually I managed to get back in the shower, and I had the doors open about yay wide. And honestly, like, I've never seen something so reassuring as my toilet. Like, that is the weirdest thing to say. But to know that I wasn't locked in a box and that I didn't have to go through that again. Like, I just stared at that toilet for the next hour if it meant I didn't have to go through that again. I then got out of the shower, did all my post-shower routine, which, being me, I had to do. There wasn't an option to not do it. I sprayed my antiperspirant, I used my hair oil, and I sat down to apply body butter to my tattoos, and I sat down on the toilet to clean my teeth, and I got dressed. And then I went into the living room to write everything down in my journal, just in case it happened again, just in case I'd need to tell a doctor what happened. I needed it fresh in my mind. I couldn't forget a detail. But now that I've opened the floodgates since Friday, it's just so clear to me. I can experience the whole thing again in my head. And since Friday, like, I've just been scared that it's gonna happen to me again. I feel like a switch has been pulled inside me, and that it could happen again at any minute. Like, my biggest fear at the moment is that it's gonna happen in work in front of a queue of customers, or it's gonna happen at home when no one's here to hand me juice and I'm just gonna be led on the floor somewhere. I'm so terrified. But I'm trying to reassure myself. Like, I got back in the shower yesterday and I felt fine. Like, I stayed in the shower for an extra long time just to make up for the terrible one I'd had before that. But yeah, there's my story. It's funny though, because I've always known that my mental health has never been at its peak. I've always been anxious and worried a lot. My depression has yo-yoed since I was about 17. And up until Friday, I thought that I knew what a panic attack felt like. I read, well, you know I read a lot. If you come here often, you know that I read a lot. So I've come across a lot of panic attack stories, and I'm not gonna lie, I scoffed at a lot of it. I thought that I could tell when an author had never been through it because it just sounded so false to me. The prime example would be Girl Online. Like, obviously I don't know much about Zoella. I've only watched a handful of her videos, and it was really bad of me to presume this, but I read those books. I read about Penny's first panic attack, and I thought, no way. No way can that happen to someone's body. She's exaggerating for effect. It's fiction, and that's what fiction writers do. They amp everything up. But I remember for a fleeting second in that shower, I just thought I was wrong about that book. She hit the nail on the head. It just feels like the world is ending, and you're trapped in this body, and your thoughts are coherent, you know what's happening, but nature takes over. But yeah, like, I've never been good at talking about feelings. Like, even if I'm talking about happy feelings, I can feel the tears coming to me because I feel pressured. I prefer to say, yeah, I'm fine, and move on and talk about how the other person's feeling, because no matter what I feel, if I talk about it, like, I'm bound to cry, and I hate crying in front of people. So I tend to bottle it up and write it down in my journal. And the relief I feel after writing it down in my journal is immense. But after writing about this particular experience in my journal, I didn't feel relieved. I felt like I needed to let it out. And I'm not going to do that with the people I know. Like, there are a lot of people I love and appreciate, but I don't want to be looked at differently. I don't want sympathetic stares from my family. And I don't want people scoffing at me and saying I overreact. So I thought that I'd talk about it here. Already I feel better. And as well, I think that if someone goes through this and hasn't read the books that I have, or hasn't had the information that I had, they can watch this and check off the symptoms and know that it was a temporary thing and that they can survive it. And I don't know, maybe it'll help someone. I know I'm a really small channel, but I don't know, maybe it could help someone. So there you go. There is a nice little sob story for you. and I promise that my next video will be a happy one. You won't see any tears, and hopefully this won't happen again. I'm in my mum's room, by the way, because someone was drilling near the back of the house where my room is. I filmed by my window and I could hear it, and I didn't want to do multiple takes of this, so I came to my mum's room. I messed up her bedroom a bit so that I could set up my stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please, if you know anyone that this could help, share it with them. If not, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching me cry. Yeah, I will see you on Sunday with a nice little happy vlog. Bye.